Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, founder of Herbal411.com. It's been 2 years since my departure from insurance-based standard medicine. Still here. I really appreciate everybody that's continued to trust me with their care, and my hikers that have gone with me to the excursions that I lead to national parks. But this in particular will be a video more to give you guys inspiration to get outside. I think it's like 20 degrees now, but the sun is out, and it's really important, especially north of Georgia, like Chicago, to be exposed to sun on a regular basis. I have done videos on light box therapy and vitamin D. You can certainly muscle your way through a winter. It's great to celebrate the holidays, but it's important to throttle or prepare for the inevitable. And one of these days, during the season of darkness and cold, some people who are on the border of being depressed and or having disease, sleep disorder, obesity, cravings, when you sprinkle in darkness for a couple months and sometimes isolation, it'll put you over the edge. And no one can tell who is going to fall over the edge or who's going to be okay. But I say everybody should prepare. And the reason I'm doing this video is a consult that I did yesterday said that even with anxiety, finds that being in nature always calms down the anxiety, makes better sleep occur, gives her more insight in the next couple of days after the exposure to nature therapy. And there's enough data to suggest that nature therapy does have an effect. I think that disconnecting with social media will calm that anxiousness and the monkey mind continued thoughts that happen that night. It'll disconnect that or dampen that down a bit, and that might be all you need. If you don't have any other options and you just have to endure the anxious thoughts or the racing mind, I mean, you can do that during the day and you can probably power your way through, but at night during sex, when you're trying to eat properly, if you have fight or flight up here, monkey mind, racing thoughts, that eventually will, using the vagus nerve, trigger every system below the neck, essentially. So you'll have palpitations from the cardiovascular system. You'll have high blood pressure from the cardiovascular system. You'll have IBS from the digestive system. You'll have cramps, difficulty with recovery as far as exercise or your endeavors if you're a laborer. You'll have all the bad side effects of a bad life. And believe it or not, it can just be from not being in contact with nature. So this is Mallard Lake. It's near Bartlett, and it's down the street from my old office when I was with Advocate Medical Group in Bartlett. For this announcement today, and I want to keep it focused because I get off on riffs all the time. For my announcement today, I wanted to give you guys an option, or at least a goal, to start training, start exercising, start getting into nature therapy. Two birds with one stone. Starting to get into nature therapy, putting in some mileage, getting some endurance. I'm taking a group of my patients up to Mount Whitney. I turned 60 this year, and my hope or aspiration was always at the age of 60 to get to Everest Base Camp and serve at the emergency room up there. But I had the ticket last spring after I took folks back from an awesome excursion, Bryce Canyon, and I'll put the link down below so you can see some of the video. It was really cool, but I was just really inspired to say, okay, I'm turning 60. During that 60th year, I want to hit a summit, and Everest Base Camp has always been a go-to, but after I deposited what I needed to deposit to register for that team, the airport closed. There's an airport that goes from the city up to elevation, and I had the option of taking a helicopter there from the city, but there's no way I'm going to do that. So I have decided that I'm taking my 60th Dr. Rick hiking excursion to Mount Whitney. So Mount Whitney is a 14er. That means 14,000 foot mountain, and it's the highest point on the continental US. It is a tough hike. I have taken some of my young guys, and they kicked my ass, by the way, but I've taken some of my young guys to other 14ers in Colorado, and it's tough. If you don't train, you're gonna hit the wall before you get to summit. And it just gives inspiration. I think most people can do that if they invest and take their time. But for my average middle-aged American, we need stuff to keep us engaged and motivated, especially if you have no faith. Not that I want to talk about faith right now, and I have a video coming up, so those of you who don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, this is the link. However, I put out the videos to inspire me, and that's because I'm inspired by my patients. So there's a positive community. And again, I really appreciate my, what I call warriors, whether it's the annual members to Herbal411 or it's the one-time consults. But bottom line is that this trek to Mount Whitney, which will probably be the beginning of August 2023, is tough. And if you don't train, you're gonna suffer or not make it and have to turn around and walk back with your partner. But I think most people can make it. For those of you who don't want to hit 14,000 feet, from trailhead to summit, it's about 11 miles one way. And that's tough, especially when you include elevation. So those of you who jog or do marathons, it will still kick your ass too. And I've done 2 marathons without training. And the last couple 14ers kicked my butt, but it's an accomplishment. And it gives me a goal to shoot for as far as continued training through all this nasty weather. That's the problem I found, is that when you're not motivated or have no goal, it's hard to invest in pain. And that's what training is. So even with this vest, it is heavy, but it's giving my body a little more hint of stress and muscular stress. It's important to initiate and engage a little bit of stress every day to muscle and to cardiovascular system. When you have a whole crap load of stress all at the same time, system will shut down. So I think that that's the beauty of getting out and doing mileage. That's the beauty of exercising every day. It's the beauty of practicing yoga, tai chi, jogging, resistance training. All that's important. And then the food and building blocks that you eat or ingest to pay it forward from the exercise also keeps you engaged as far as eating properly because of the exercise you just performed. Take it the next step. You want to sleep well the day before your training, and that engages you to commit to regular sleep schedule. You can see how it's a positive feedback, almost like a rabbit hole of health when you have a goal. Will be 11 miles uphill, but for those of you who are intimidated by that, the options are from trailhead to about 6.5 miles is switchbacks. I think that's called 99 switchbacks. So you'll be going back and forth as you elevate. And at the 6 mile mark, there is a camp. It's a second camp. I think will be where we bivouac, where base camp for 2 groups. Alpha group will continue up to the summit the next morning. Bravo group will have the option to turn around and go back to trailhead with an accomplishment that they got to base camp. An overnight stay will be cool too. You'll have to rent or buy tents, sleeping pads, a good backpack to carry stuff, hiking sticks. All this is to anticipate that we'll have a kick-ass time. And then you're going to be in nature. Like I mentioned, I think that whether you believe it or not or follow the data, you will feel empowered, less stress when you're with other people and just being in nature because you'll be disconnected. I don't think there's any signals up there. For the Alpha group that continues the next morning, leave from base camp after saying goodbye to Bravo group, and then we'll proceed to the trail crest and then the summit on the mountain. And then hopefully that'll be that'll be about 5 miles one way from base camp to summit. And it'll be tough, but I think if we have a good night rest and enjoy the happiness and camaraderie of both groups together, sleeping around a fire pit, that will be cool. Almost like our ancestors used to do when they were hunting. I'll reveal the stuff as we get closer to August, because everybody has their own pace. And I want to force folks who want to enjoy nature to be at the speed that my leads will be at. So everybody has to have a partner. So you have to be in 2 or more. One of those in your group has to be part of my practice. I know it's exclusive, and I've invited other folks to my excursions in the past that were not members of the Herbal411 practice I run. This being my 2nd year since I left insurance-based standard medicine, I am still here, and I honor those folks who have helped my practice continue to push forth. This is going to be for you guys, my warriors, my patients. So if you have not signed up with my current practice since 2020, you can't go. Sorry. Unless you can find somebody who is either a single consult, it's called, or an annual member. You might have a friend who actually still comes to see me, so ask around. This is the link that you can hit to find out about my practice and becoming a single consult or an annual member. This weekend, we will be having Black Friday sales to buy into my practice. I still have the folks who have followed me since 2020 have the lowest entry fee, an inaugural price. It's usually a quarterly payment. For Black Friday, one will be folks who want to invest an option at a discounted rate from the current price. You can purchase 2 visits at once and use them anytime you want. What I do for patients with regards to personalized planning is totally different than what you're used to with insurance-based medicine. A lot of my visits take an hour and a half. It includes a breakdown of blood results, progress as far as weight and exercise. My annual members also get 2 more visits at the minimum to touch base. I've taken patients on trail. I've taken patients to the gym. I like to see what you're applying and how you're applying it. And I like to see what's going on inside your metabolism. I think it's worth it to invest. Some folks are apprehensive about investing, but listen, you get what you pay for. I'd rather have my folks invest in exercise, nutrition, sleep, spiritual practice, and get healthy so they don't need to hit any kind of deductible. And we can avoid the hospital. More importantly, man, I want to avoid all the cancers, heart attacks, neurodegenerative disorders that are coming your way, especially my middle-aged folks. Don't think that if you're a little bit overweight and you're not feeling anything, that nothing's happening. I can get blood tests that'll tell you there's a lot happening on the inside that you're not aware of, and it's going to hit you hard sooner or later. It always does. So, listen, my objective is, when I start this video, just to get you to consider getting out to hike. And to train with my group, you don't have to be a member of Herbal411. I'll be announcing it on Facebook, Dr. Rick Hiking Excursions on Facebook. And you can certainly join the folks that are training from winter time until we launch to the excursion. And there's no obligation for that, but I will have to limit the people that are going with me on the excursion to members only or friends of members. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea about my practice. I'll put the links again down below to get you more verbiage if you need that. Bottom line is, get outside, try to get some form of exercise, whether it's walking with weight or walking at an incline. Try to eat properly, try to lose weight, because unfortunately most of the time disease is due to not caring about exercise, not caring about weight, getting a little bit heavy around the midriff, what's called dad bod. And I think it's fair to parcel out your time. And if you don't have enough time to exercise or eat properly the full way, then chunk it down to something that's more tangible. But you have to move, because if we're doing this for the kids or because you're a caregiver, okay. But if you're not taking care of your health, you're not going to be a good caregiver, and you're going to be the one who needs the care. So that's what I hopefully have for all my patients, is a way out of suffering and avoid all the crap that's coming our way. And if you don't have anything that happens and you just go ahead and invest in exercise, nutrition, sleep, and spiritual practice, well, I think that you'll still be better off. So even if you're an athlete that runs, if you're a yoga practitioner that meditates and finds peace, it's still important to make sure that you're doing things the right way. And maybe you'll be one of my boring patients that it's like I can't find anything, but usually I find something. So thanks for watching up to this point in time. Please post any questions down below in the comments section. Otherwise, consider subscribing to me at my YouTube channel or being a patient on Herbal411, and I'll see you on trail. Thanks, guys. you.